coming. I know there's like 100 other places you would also need to be, whether you're putting in an offer or closing an escrow or meeting another friend for lunch. So I really do appreciate all of you making the time to come. And of course, this workshop is for all of you, so you will benefit greatly by committing this time to the Listing Circle. So I just want to welcome you. I'm Mika Ratnam, and I'm an agent at Compass and a very big supporter of SCCAOR, and I want to thank SCCAOR so much for letting us host this here. And you know, we were just talking, Jody and I, earlier with Garrick about how wonderful SCCAOR is and the kind of workshops they have. You should check out the SCCAOR website. There's tons of very exciting workshops. Of course, ours is special, and so when I started the Listing Circle, actually it was a Zoom call with Neil, who I'm so privileged and happy that he's here today, and we were talking about what is going to benefit the agents the most. And one of the discussions we had was about helping agents with listings, and especially now with all the new technology and the changes in the economy, agents really need to be on top of this fast-changing world, because whoever has a better understanding of the market, of the technology, is naturally more equipped to deal with the community of sellers and to understand it. So, so we hope that we'll dive deep into different aspects on some regular talks once a month or once in 2 months, and we can serve the community to provide the information that's going to help all realtors. And the second reason for the Listing Circle is for us to build a community of supporters, because I think we can share information with each other and we can learn from each other and be friends. And it shouldn't be a secret space where this is just my stuff and my stuff. And everybody who shares and we share together, we can all grow. There's enough room for everyone. For a hardworking agent, there's enough room. It isn't like, there's just a finite amount of clients. And the last but most important reason is to learn from the high quality mentors. So we have a chance to learn from the best, and this whole forum, and thank you so much for volunteering your time, David and Garrick, so that you can share with us the secrets of your success, and Thuy as well, who is a brain power to be reckoned with. So I want to thank Thuy for being part of this journey. So we hope you'll come regularly, and the next workshop, by the way, is on September 23rd, and Sandy, who happens to be our next speaker, is here today, and so just keep that, mark your calendars. So now I'd like to go on to our very next step, which is to recognize our lunch sponsor and all the beautiful lunch that you had today, Eddie Garcia. Eddie is a veteran, and he has offered to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And after giving the pledge, perhaps, Eddie, you can speak a little bit about Flagstar and what makes it unique. And then after that, we'll have Neil Collins, who is the CEO of SCCAOR. Thank you so much, Neil, for coming. And he's going to give us a little inspiration. And then we will start with the panel. So over to Eddie.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yes. And on the invitation, you might have seen I was at Loan Depot. I resigned last week. I'm now with the manager with Flagstar Bank, the R National. But again, thank you for pointing out a veteran. I really enjoy, starting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and shout out to any other fellow veterans in here. But if we can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Go. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Awesome. And so, again, a little bit about Flagstar. Again, they're an FDIC bank. They are national, so in all 50 states, all the programs, they have HELOC as well. Really aggressive jumbo rates, as well as other products conforming FHA as well. A couple of good things that they also do, which we can do within Flagstar Bank, is not having it be brokered out. They will do construction financing to $3 million. They also have a great professional program for doctors and attorneys. They can do up to 1.5 million loan amounts, 5% down, no PMI, up to 1.5 million. It's a great product, and also 0% down to 1 million, no PMI for professionals, for physicians, attorneys, things like that. But again, just other your standard programs, 20% down to 5 million or even higher if needed. But again, we're local, we're national, so any questions at all, you want to know a little bit, then just reach out to me afterwards and we can chat about other products.
Do you have a flyer?
I don't, again, my official start date is Monday, so I haven't had a chance to print anything out, anything like that, or the business card. Everything's actually being received today. So again, I just resigned last week and, accepted the offer last week, and so it's in the process of transition. So we will be local here in the Campbell area.
Maybe you can put your email on this board, and then if people want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'll do
Okay,
that.
thank you. Thank you, Eddie. And now I want to invite Neil Collins. I'm so happy that you are here today. And Neil, you're here to inspire this crowd.
Oh, no pressure, no pressure. Let me see if I can get this. First off, I want to say a couple items of gratitude. One, Eddie, amazing. You're in the middle of this total career transfer, and you still came and brought lunch for everyone today. I mean, that was amazing, because I'm sure this is out of his personal pocket. This is not a business account, so we really appreciate you following through. And I appreciate you, Mika, putting this together. This has been an amazing event. I know when we first started, we said, well, let's try upstairs. We have a small room, we're not really utilizing it, and now look what it's grown to. It's an amazing group of folks here, and some faces that I recognize and some that I don't, which is excellent. That's the kind of mix we want. We are, one of our core values here at the association is to be welcoming, and I hope you feel that, and we really appreciate you as the member coming in, supporting us, letting us, be your silent business partner, if you will. So when it comes, and isn't it great to be back in person?
Yes.
When we were doing the pledge, we were a little out of sync. We're still in that Zoom mode, but we're gonna get back. Next time we do this, we're gonna be spot on. We're gonna be all linked up. But yeah, it's really great to be back in person. Just feel the energy. I know a lot of you guys went to our barbecue, and God, it was just so great to see everyone. So as far as inspiration, I didn't have a lot of warning on this one. So I was gonna run back to my computer and look up a quote or whatever, and I said really what I should do is maybe take a little acronym that we use internally here, on my management team, and then just kind of reapply it. So, as leaders of the association, as managers, we say we care. We provide clarity, accountability, resources, and energy. And how that applies to you is many of you are your own boss. So if you don't have the clarity of goal and mindset, what you're going to do on a given day, you're not going to be successful. If you don't hold yourself accountable, you will not be successful. If you don't provide yourself the resources, particularly on the marketing side, to continue to grow your business, even when your business is good, you will not be successful. And lastly, the energy. When you're working by yourself, there's really no one to pump you up. You have to bring your own energy each and every day to the workplace. So if you can keep that acronym in mind, care, clarity, accountability, resources, and energy, hopefully that'll help you get through the day and have a successful business work week. Thanks.
Wow. How true it is that alone we can do it all. And I didn't do this alone with everyone here. I want to recognize Jody. Without Jody, none of this would have happened. And Jody's there, the registration. She's in the background. She's an amazing events coordinator. And as I said, there's other events you should check out. So we'll get started. And my personal partner is Thuy Tran. She is an incredible seasoned agent, and she's going to make our questions shine. So we had a discussion yesterday about our questions, and by going back and forth, we hope to pick the best of your minds. So at this point, I want to introduce David and Garrick Yan, David Azimi and Garrick Yan, and we will do an individual introduction with us. So Thuy, why don't you join us? And maybe you can introduce David and then I'll introduce Garrick. Yes.
Thank you, everyone. And it is my pleasure to introduce you David Azimi. He is a man of multiple hats. He is the vice president of Intero, and he's also the Intero Mika's office manager. And he has been in the sales business for over 30 years and started in real estate in 2007. What a year to start, right, David? Yeah, and through hard work, discipline, he has become a top producer. And currently, he is in the top 1% chairman circle at Intero. He has done close to 500 transactions year to date. And so far this year has closed 40 million in volume. Wow. I'm so excited today. And he has been married to his high school sweetheart for over 30 years.
Wow.
Two beautiful daughters who graduated from UC Berkeley, and one son who we enjoy running the sports and race together with. And truly, he believed that buying and selling real estate is often an enormously important transaction, and that the representation that the client received from the agent has a very significant impact on the results. So please give David a very warm welcome.
So I'm going to introduce Garrick Yan, and I first met Garrick Yan actually on the internet. And I was looking at, different things, and there was Garrick with really engaging video content, and it was fun, and it just kept me interested. And I thought, wow, I should give him a call. When I was looking for speakers, I said I'm going to ask Garrick, and then as Garrick spoke, I felt definitely Garrick should be the speaker, not just him recommending other people. And Garrick is very intelligent, he's very creative and very personable, and so he brings a lot of different talents together. Prior to real estate, Garrick graduated from UC Davis with a degree in electrical engineering. So he is, from tech with the electrical engineering and computer science in 1994. And over the 10 years, he has worked for a number of high-tech companies. He has been in product development, a business analyst, and a project manager. But he discovered that his passion was really teaching when he taught English in China in the summer of 2001. And he has, over the years, done a lot of teaching. And so it only then becomes a natural progression to be a team lead and an expert in real estate with EXP. So, Garrick, if you want to add anything more, please don't hesitate.
That's pretty spot on.
That's spot on, okay.
About 10. So 10 years of teaching, 10 years of engineering, and then 10 years of real estate now, so 30 years.
30 years. So the way we're going to do it is that we're going to alternate questions, Thuy and me, and so I'm going to let Thuy ask the first question. Okay, yeah, we'll give the microphone.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, fantastic.
Here, you each have a microphone.
So, we all have two, so we'll do it.
Yeah.
So you're right next to me, Garrick. You
Let's
get
see.
the first one. So, as we'll all know, the market has really changed in the last few months. And where do you think it's going? Where do you think it's going?
That's a tough question. A lot of people, I don't feel that it's gonna go significantly up. I know there's a lot of infographics out on the internet saying, hey, we're gonna expect 15% appreciation. I'm not feeling that right now. In fact, in many of the markets, we're seeing some pullback. I did a look on the numbers earlier this year. We're saying, okay, well, since the interest rates have gone up about 3%, that means the prices, which is the same as what it was in 2019, the prices are probably going to be coming down to match that as well, because people haven't had significant salary growth or pay growth, so the money is gonna go somewhere. It's either going towards interest payment or principal payment. So we're looking at maybe potentially 2019 prices. That's what I'm feeling about the real estate market. But I also think there's also influences outside of real estate that may cause prices within real estate to change as well. So I would say definitely do your research in terms of what else is happening globally. You know, we have supply chain, you have a potential war that might happen, you have, you know, farming issues that are happening too. So take a look at the big economy. It's not just housing alone. And if there is a correction in terms of prices, I don't think it's coming from housing alone. Okay, it's one component. So at the current moment, there's still very low supply. The sellers are gonna still sell, buyers are still gonna buy. You just gotta find the right clients and give them your best service.
Now, David, we have a very different take on it, so let's hear what you have to say, David.
Well, my take on this market is very stable, and you just have to believe in yourself and what's happening, right? So for me, on daily basis, I educate myself with knowledge of today's market, what's going on, so I'm not gonna deaf myself with not hearing what's happening out there. But at the same time, I put a positive spin on it, right? I really don't care what's gonna happen in the world, as long as I'm gonna take care of that seller and have a buyer interested in buying a property. It's a mindset that I have, that I eliminate the noise and I believe what my heart and my mind says. So for me, this market is beautiful. I love it, you know? I list properties, I get multiple offers, I get buyers excited, I'm excited, and that's my winning. That's my winning for today's market. So believe in what you're doing, understand what my co-partner said right here, and I respect what he said, but I look at it differently. I believe that it's a playing, even battlefield for all of us. You just have to be there and understand what you need to do as an agent to keep yourself engaged, motivated, and excited.
I agree with you, David, too. I think if your view is long-term, I don't think there's gonna be an issue. I think we've both in different stages of different life. I mean, even out before we were in real estate, because I've only been in real estate 10 years, but this is gonna be my third recession. And we've seen the prices go up and go down and go up and go down. So I've had a property for 20 years and it's probably about 5 times what I bought for. So if your view is long-term, you should be fine. I bought at the bottom, I bought at the top. So just keep it
Well,
long.
we all did that, right? So I started in 2007 when people told me why real estate market crashed. There was a financial crisis. But you know what? What I did is I believed that I'm gonna make this market work for me. Out of that bad market, there was 2 babies that were born. One was short sale and the other one was REOs, right? The first year was very challenging to be able to communicate with the lenders, work in a short sale, convince, because sellers had no power. Sellers were defaulting, but your actual seller was the bank. And I had to basically convince the bank to take this offer. Out of that came REOs, which I became an REO agent and did very well with that. But that was a tough market. I mean, I used to go to the office at 7:30 in the morning and get home at 8 o'clock at night. And the only reason I did that is because I didn't know what I was playing with. But the opportunities were there back in 2007. There was a lot of self-made millionaires happening in those years. And right now, if you believe in this market is a bad market, you're wrong. It's a great market. You just have to believe in yourself and today. I mean, and convince your sellers, convince your buyers, you know. And the only way you could convince that if you believe in yourself.
Okay, we'll go on to the next
So
question.
this is how I met David. He actually sent us a postcard in 2013. So he was reaching out. He was hustling since before that too. So that's how far we go
This
back.
is when I made some money, I think. These were the expensive postcards.
Well, the follow-up question to this, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, so the follow-up question to this is a little bit from what you were saying, that you did a lot of REOs, and so I just wanted to know that what can an agent do to adapt to this current market? Do you feel that certain portions of the market are more happening, and so what can an agent do to adapt to this current market situation? So we'll start off with David, then we'll go to Garrick.
The current market, if you're gonna adapt to this market, you better have a schedule. Don't be a silent agent. Go to the office, get out of the house. A lot of us like to sit at home and say we're realtors. Well, guess what? Are you a hobbyist or are you a professional? So for me, if you don't have a schedule, then you're just another agent with the opinion, right? Today's market, you have to adjust and adapt. But the only way you could adjust and adapt is if you have the mindset to do that, right? If you don't have the mindset or the focus or the vision, then it really doesn't matter what you do. 2013, 2020, when the pandemic happened, March, I was going home and said, oh my God, you can't go to the office anymore, everything shut down. Everybody thought, oh my God, real estate is gonna crash. Well, guess what? We rocked. You know why we rocked? For the first 2 weeks, it was a nice vacation. Then Zoom popped out, right? We started doing listing presentation on Zoom. We adapted and adjusted immediately. And that's the key for this market. It's stable. You just have to, a property might not sell the first weekend. That's okay. It might sell in 30 days. But you have to believe in that, in this market. Because if you don't, then you're gonna get stuck with that spiral and gonna go down, right? And then I'm gonna take that listing away from you, I'm gonna sell it. That's all.
Definitely don't be a secret agent, but I'm also looking, we're also switching, instead of just strictly online leads, we're also focusing a lot more on our sphere, because we've already developed a reputation with past clients and people that we like, but we're gonna be working on more referrals on that way too. And this is something that I'm training the team to do, it's not just myself, okay? So we have a lot of newer agents. I know there's also a lot more new agents in general, during the past 2 years, and I think it's important because you're gonna have a reach to different clients that I won't be able to reach. And that's just gonna be it. We were just talking about it's not a competition with me and David, who are we gonna get the client from, because we reach a different kind of person. And there's just plenty of business for all of us. We just have to go find it and go get it yourself. There's a book, Who Moved the Cheese, and it's moving. And you're not paying attention all the time. If you're not in the office, you're not networking, you're not hearing what's happening on the street, you're gonna be left behind. So that's very important to network. And follow along to that, don't be a secret agent. I have a whole class on that, about being social media present. So I don't have an office, and so we're very different. We're virtual, 100% virtual.
So just to recap what both of you said, it sounds like definitely work on your sphere, have a schedule, have a vision, right? Did I miss anything else?
And focus.
Focus, focus, all right. So, and to follow up with that, both of you are office manager and team leader. What are you do on a regular basis to help your agent grow? We'll start with Garrick.
Okay. So we are a virtual office. So we meet, because we have agents from Sacramento to San Diego. We meet 3 times a week on Zoom. So Mondays are accountability. Did you call anybody? How many calls did you make this week? Did you do any showing? Did you write any offers? What can we help you with? And what stage of the transaction are you on? So it's your typical, it's your office meeting. So if you're showing up, you're seeing what other people are doing, and you can rate yourself on how you're doing compared to others. And we show the stats. We compare with each other. Are you improving over yourself? Can you do better? And then this last Friday, we had a conversation about the 100-point daily checklist, which is like being accountable to yourself. Are you doing the production activities? Thursdays, we do sales calls, so we do live calls. So if you've never made a call before to talk to people, like cold people, like circle prospecting, past clients, or even just warm leads in our database, so we're doing live calls on Thursday. So if you've never made a call before, you can listen to me do it, I'll call on you to make one. And then Fridays, we do different kinds of education. So just 1 hour, whatever the topic is. We've done the REO talk, we've done the CRM talk, we've done how to write a listing presentation, everything, anything.
So we actually, I do one-on-one with the agents in the office on a daily basis. I do have meetings, whether there's 3 people in the office or 20 people in the office. I gather them together in a circle, 15 minutes, just to go over objections. Give me your objections. Let me see if I could overcome it. And then on Tuesdays, me and Rishi Bakshi, our broker on record, we have called a Tuesday huddle. It's a 30-minute Zoom meeting. We gather all our agents. We talk about market pulse. We talk about your challenges. We're gonna talk about your wins. Wins to us, if you got an offer accepted, or you picked up a listing. Challenges are if your deal fell apart, buyer backed out, cold feet, and what's going on with the market. So we do that every Tuesday, and once a month we have a big meeting with all our agents. But I have a meeting with everybody in the office Monday through Friday. 5 minutes. I'm checking on your attitude. What are you doing? What do you need help on? I'm here. I reach out to our title companies that we work with very closely, and they're really a big supporter. So I want to get them educated. The new agents, you have to be educated how to overcome objection when it comes to title, right? So we have title partners come in, have a little class with them. That's how I engage our agents, you know? And if I see somebody down, I could pick it up immediately. When I walk into that office and that guy or that gal is down, I'm gonna immediately go sit down and pull them aside. Hey, let's talk. What's going on? What do you need help on? I'm here. And a lot of people have challenges making calls. I made my career of making calls. You know, people call it cold calls. I call it opportunity calls. I call it money line. You know, money line. Because when I make that call, I don't care if they talk to 100 agents, I'm gonna make that seller fall in love with me through the phone. You know why? Because I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna acknowledge, I'm gonna explore their options, and I'm gonna respond properly to set that appointment up. And that's what I teach our agents. I mean, they're my partners. I don't call them followers, they're leaders. Agents are leaders, you gotta lead by example, and I treat them like leaders, right? I can't get the office to go to a next level if I don't have leaders. You can't do it with followers. You can't go to war, have a bunch of followers. You better have a bunch of leaders to win that war, and that's what we're doing.
Wow. So how do you make them fall in love with you?
Every morning when they come to the office, I give them a shot of tequila. I think it's the personality. I think I'm just like them, right? I don't use the manager or the title to get into my head, because I actually do work in the office.
Actually, I was talking about the cold calls.
Cold calls. How do I make the people fall in love with me?
Yes.
Well, I always make my cold calls standing up. I never sit down and make cold calls. Because the moment you stand up, your tone changes. Your body language, you keep moving, right? So you start moving, guess what happens? A lot of good things come to mind. And that's what I do. And the most important thing on the cold call is you have to capture them in the first 20 seconds. The longer you're on the phone, the less a chance you're gonna get that listing. Because everybody call, I have a buyer. I never use that line. I have a buyer. Well, if you have a buyer, write an offer. No, I don't have a buyer. I'm calling you because your property didn't sell, and I want to set up an appointment to meet with you via Zoom, and then we go from there. And the moment I set that up, and I convince people pretty well, I think. I don't know why, but it just happens, right? But I'm very natural. I just want to, and humbly natural, because over the years, I have been rejected. I like rejection. My wife rejected me 5 times before she married me, so I have 3 beautiful kids. But rejection actually motivates me when somebody says, I don't want to work with you. I'm gonna say, why? Why you don't want to work with me? And stats are good. I never talk about, I did this and I did that. It's not about we did this. We have a team. Whatever company you work for, you have a team there. That team is your supporting line, right? Especially if you're a new agent. I have nobody. You have a whole support team. Utilize that, right? For new agents, it's a little bit tougher because they get wound up being disappointed because they didn't get a listing. Well, it's not about just getting a listing. Plan your work and work your plan and educate yourself and team up with somebody that has a little bit more experience. That's my recommendation.
Garrick?
Over to you. For the next question?
Yeah, so I think you almost pretty much said what we were gonna ask you.
Me?
Yeah, because we were gonna ask you what
I'm
we
on a roll.
recommend for our, new agent. And so I'm gonna put that question to you, Garrick. What would you recommend as a sort of business for newer agents?
New agents, source of business would be just reach out to your sphere. So I started, that was 10 years ago. I still had connections with the engineering cast and the people that I taught. And I announced it to everybody. Okay? I sent out 100 letters and let them know that I'm in the business. Of course, I can't expect to be a top producer from just the sphere. So I also understood I need to go find business elsewhere. And at that time, I was also investor mindset, so I was sending out postcards similar to this, but actually much cheaper than this. Mine was, I printed my own on an inkjet with a yellow cardstock from Office Max, and I pasted my own stamps on it. And I got calls from it and said, okay, some marketing helps. So that, and then Zillow called me, and then I signed up with Zillow, and I was immediately starting to meet people. So if you're afraid of the phone, you shouldn't be afraid of the phone. We're in the service business. Go meet people, right? They're calling you for a reason. It's just like if you go to a restaurant and you sit down and nobody comes out, you're not going to be happy. You're going to leave. So just come with a heart of service, and if you've done everything you can to serve them right, and if there's still something not right, then that's okay. You know, if I can learn from if a mistake that I've made, then that's great. If they're just turned off by me, okay, then I can't serve them. New agents, so reach out, make sure everybody knows where you are. If you're brand new today, do a coming out party, okay? Just like host a happy hour, call all your friends, doesn't matter if they don't show up. You've already let them know because you've called them, right? So now that they know you're an agent, they can follow you and find out, and hopefully they'll support your success. And if they come out to the meeting, they'll say, oh, great, free food. Free's a good bribe, by the way. Is that good? So just make sure everybody knows, don't be a secret agent, so post them everywhere.
Also, how you help the videos.
Oh, so, yeah, so video is very important today. So even Instagram, if you're not doing, if you're just posting a photo, it's not gonna get promoted as much as video. So a lot of the agents that I'm working with, I'm also doing a promo video or a property video, so that they're immediately leveraging my online sphere. So when David was saying, if you're a brand new agent, you say, I don't have anybody. Yeah, you do. You got your office manager, you got your broker, you got your brand, you got your brokerage brand, you've got whoever else you're working with. Stand next, do an interview, just do like a 5-second, a 1-minute reel. Say, David, I'm here on TikTok. I'm here on TikTok Live. What did you do this year, and how are you gonna improve for this year, coming year? Do something like that. Borrow his audience. Is that okay? So now everybody that knows David now knows you too. So that's something that's good. So you're never alone. There's always somebody to work with. Yeah.
And Garrick is especially generous because he goes out and helps the newer agents. I don't know, there's too many team leads who would do that, and so I have to say that
I'm learning.
You're a super guy. And with you, for newer agents, how can
I think Garrett hit it right on the spot by saying that, don't be a silent agent, do videos, talk about today's market, gather with good content, make it short, utilize social media platforms to your advantage, right? I do videos at the office. Sometimes when there's nobody there, I just turn on the video, just talk, and if I don't like it, I delete it.
Yep.
But 90% of the time, I kind of like what I say, and I just say, okay, let me post this. But I just start doing things on TikTok. Believe it or not, I get a lot of likes on TikTok now. You just have to adapt, right? As a new agent, you gotta find ways of putting your name out there. And if you don't do none of these stuff that we're talking about, then you're gonna be here tomorrow at the same time, same place, nothing has moved. So you gotta move the needle. You have to do what's right for you. For me, every day, I have to accomplish something that tomorrow is gonna say, I did it. Even if I had a rough day in the office, as an agent I'm talking about, when I was new and I didn't get anything, when I walked out of the office, sat in my car, patted myself on the back. So you tried but didn't get anywhere. That's okay. But imagine if I didn't try, what would happen, right? I tried. I did my best to get something. But if I didn't get it today, I'm gonna get it tomorrow. So just believe in what you do and reward yourself, If you get your first listing and you sell it, go buy something for yourself. Put something in front of you. Put a picture of a car, picture of a tie, picture of a shoes that you want, something that you want to get for your wife. Put it right there. and accomplish it and reward yourself. And that's what I recommend new agents. It's a tough market if you believe that there's a tough market. This market, the way you need to respond to it is that I'm gonna make this work for me. And you have to make it work, okay? And you'll win, because people that are in this audience right now, you're a bunch of winners. I don't see anybody that's not a winner. You know, your work ethic speaks for itself, right? You committed today to come here. And we have a lot of agents like you guys committed to be here and listen to me and Garrick for a reason, right? You wanna make your playbook better.
Thank you both, Garrick. I think you're the next question, right? Or is it me? Okay. Well, for seasoned agents, what do you do for them to double their transactions? What do you recommend? Yeah.
Well, so I'm gonna, for
To double their transactions. To double their
Double
transactions.
Doubling is one way. You can do 12 deals, 12 listings, 24 deals. For seasoned agents, you know, as you are growing your business, as you're doing very well, you need to actually put a game plan together every year to sit down and kind of find out where you were, where did you spend your money, did you do it on Zillow leads, did you do it on this, and this, and all the resources, and then say, okay, I'm gonna do this a little bit differently, right? You gotta gauge yourself, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. For me, let me tell you how I gauge myself as a seasoned agent. The moment my listing pipeline goes down to 10, I panic. In general, and I'm not making it, you could come to my office, I have a board that basically tracks David. And if I don't have 15 listings in my pipeline, something is wrong. Because out of those 15 listings, I'm gonna put 2 or 3 on the market. So the moment the guy goes to 11 or 12, I add more to it. That's my mind, that's how I wired my mind. I never wait for my listings to get to 1 or 2, then start. I'm just gonna add on to the pipeline. Keep on adding, keep on adding. Go get those listings, as long as it makes sense. Go get those listings as long as it makes sense. And then just, that's how I engage in it, that's how I produce my numbers are going up. Same thing with seasoned agent, what I recommend, you look at your playbook, look at what's working for you, what's not working for you. If something is not working for you, eliminate it and add something else that's gonna work for you, right? If door knock is one way to do it, I'm not a good door knocker, by the way. I've never door knocked in the past, since 2007. I think I did it once. I told you that today. I did it once, and it wasn't good because I felt really uncomfortable. Just like some of you feel uncomfortable getting on the phone. But I'm a natural on the phone, so I kind of like to talk. But when somebody knocks on the door, I just panic and I say, what happened? I kind of leave it.
Gary?
Okay, a seasoned agent, I think it's gonna be very important that you have systems in place. I've known seasoned agents that don't have a CRM. Can you imagine that? Maybe that's some of you in the room. So a CRM, if you don't know, is a contact relationship management software. It's a way to track everybody you have. If you think 10 transactions per month, okay, David, and each transaction has 10 people involved, that means he's gotta have 100 people in his mind for this month, and another 100 for next month. That's a lot of people. Our mind is only generally capable of remembering 100 things at a time. So if you're gonna keep next month and the month after that, that's 300 people he's gotta keep in his mind. So if you don't have a system in place to remember all those things, or to remember to follow up, you're gonna lose your business, right? So having a system and having systems, you as a CRM, we use project management software to do, not a whiteboard because we're virtual. So we track all the transactions that we have, we find out where each person is and what they're doing. That's also important. Keep in front of people. So if you don't like to do phone calls, do video. If you don't like doing video, find another way. You know, find a way to get referrals. Talk to agents and get them to refer you stuff. You know, or maybe because you have something that's unique, you speak a language that they don't speak. Last week we held our client appreciation event. So we called everybody in our database, or reached out. We emailed them all because we ran out of time. So we emailed them all, but we know they opened it, so they're aware that we're doing something. So we're trying to get in front of them to come see us. So get your systems in order. If you don't have that, talk to your office manager, or you can call me on the side and we'll set your systems up.
Great.
So, switching gear a little bit, we wanna discuss about the listing presentation. Because after all, you know, listing is essentially king, it's what drive our business. And please share with us your process from beginning to end when, let's say, when you talking to a seller and scheduling that listing appointment all the way to the end when you get that signature on the listing agreement.
So, as coming from as an engineer and then coming as a teacher, I wanna educate the client from the start to the end, so they're fully aware of every single step of the thing that happens, right? It's not just put a sign in the lockbox and, hey, we're live. We gotta prep the house, we gotta pre-market it, we gotta make the house look as best as it can. It's kinda like, your coming out party, your launch, your, IPO for that property. We also need to find out what you're gonna do after you sell it. What are you gonna do with the money? Are you gonna reinvest it? What are the tax consequences? Are you gonna move somewhere else? We gotta find out that you can actually go buy that thing that you wanna buy before you actually sell what you wanna sell. So I wanna make sure that they have an A to Z plan before they actually sell, okay? I have my seller guide online, it's let's sell a house. So anybody can look at it. And I present that to the seller, they can look at the whole guide. There's also videos in there, so all my videos are not just for TikTok views, they're actually for education. So, so they have a video explanation on certain things also on that seller's guide. So that, yeah.
Can I just very quickly ask you, how long did it take you to make that listing presentation and all the videos and everything?
So that's not the actual listing presentation, but that's the whole guide, so they have a playbook from the start to the end. Probably took about, well, working on and off on it, probably about 6 months at least. The videos take a long time just because I'm not making all of them at one time. So it's a work in progress, it keeps growing.
So that's something to think about, is that, we can just keep adding a little at a time. We don't have to do the whole thing in one sitting or even a couple of weeks.
Don't wait for perfect. Yeah, just do it.
So when I set up an appointment with a client on a listing presentation, and let's say that appointment set, first I do a Zoom meeting. Once my Zoom meeting is done and went successful, then I have their emails. Then what I do is I send them a high note presentation. High note presentation basically tells them from A to Z what needs to happen. Okay, tells them about David, my processes, title company, all the information they need to gather. Then I have another tool that I use is called Real Scout. Real Scout, we say test the market. So I send that part of my presentation to them. Then let's say the appointment set for tomorrow at 6 p.m. The next day at 7 o'clock in the morning, I will drop off a listing presentation, but I just send them via email at the front door steps, right? So my appointment's at 6. Now, the reason I do that, number one, is that, let's say they have 5 appointments with 5 different agents, and I'm agent number 5. I did something totally different than the other agent was not gonna do. They gotta go there to close the deal. But I'm planting the seed in their head. I was at your doorstep at 7 a.m. and dropped this off, even though you got my email. Number 2, I look the part. I don't go without a tie. I go basically dressed to win. And why do I do that? Because let's say 3 other agents shows up with no ties, or not prepared. I'm not saying that, sometimes I love.
Silicon Valley, man.
That's what happens. But what it does is they will remember who I was. And I explain everything from A to Z, but the key is you have to listen to your sellers. These sellers are here for a reason, right? They expired for a reason because they didn't get what they heard before from the other agent. So your battle is a little harder, right? So I don't go there to basically get a listing signed right away. If I do, great. If I don't, that's okay. I'm building a relationship. If I don't get the listing today, I'm gonna get it tomorrow, that's for sure. And my closing ratio is 85%. There's 15 that I don't get, that's okay. There's a hit or miss. Sometimes they like me, sometimes I don't like them, or they don't like me, that's okay. But I like to ask questions. When I sit in front of a seller, I ask them questions, just like they ask me questions. I tell them, how many agents have you interviewed today? 2, 3, great. If they say you're the first one, it's not gonna be the last one. It's gonna put the seed in there, right? And then I'm gonna say, well, if you listed the property, what made you love that last agent? Oh, it was a referral. Did you like the agent? They tell you no or yes. What did you like about him? This is my very thing that I use Mike Ferry's is my coach, and he's great, and he's script reading, but I kind of copy that script to my advantage. I kind of pick the pieces and bits and pieces and put my attitude in it and kind of utilize it. And at the end of it, it's a pretty success rate because I talk to husband and wife at the same time. I just don't focus on the wife or the husband. I just talk to both of them at the same time, and I ask both of them questions because you have to have both of them to agree that this is the right agent for us.
Good. Wow, I just couldn't stop listening to both of you. You
I'm
wanna
gonna
add
jump
some
in,
more?
I'm gonna
Yes.
jump in. I think what David goes in with is a lot of mindset. You gotta go in to win, but at the same time, you're also serving that client too. You're not strong arming them or anything like that, but you're going in to win. And that winning is what I think Josh Altman calls calculated confidence. So it's not the same as cockiness, which is like, I'm gonna steamroll you, but you know, he knows what he's capable of doing, he knows what he's capable to deliver, and he's expressing that before meeting them, and I think that is also very important too. So calculated confidence. So if you're not reading, by the way, to improve your mind, because a lot of you stopped reading after high school, you should be reading 10 books a year, minimum. So if you're not doing that, then I think you're falling behind. So that's my big encouragement to you too.
Should I ask the next question? So, these are kind of a little bit like objections. So when a homeowner is unsure about the market, because in today's market, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, is the market gonna go down? Should we wait? What's gonna happen? There's too many homes now on the market or whatever. So how do you advise them on whether they should sell now or whether they should wait, and what kind of reasons and motivations do you give them?
That's actually a great question because I get that asked all the time. The market is not selling, why should we list with you? We don't wanna do that, we're just tired of it, we're sick of it. But once again, it boils down on how you present that presentation and get them to engage with you and lock in eye to eye. So when I talk to them, in real estate, there's never a bad season. People will buy. If the price is right, buyer's gonna buy. Seller's gonna sell, right? I explained to him, you know, 4 or 5 months ago, you sold a house in Fremont, you got $500,000 over asking. Now it's just ridiculous. That was stupid, actually, to be honest with you, right? They knocked out the buyers. Now all of a sudden, you have inventory and buyers don't wanna pull the trigger. Well, you know why they don't wanna pull the trigger? They think it's gonna go down more. No, this is where you come in. You explain to them the rates. You know, we have Flagstar in the house. You guys gotta have a good lender. Get the lender engaged. Talk about the rates. Go on a 5-year arm instead of going on a 30-year fix. Get the property right now. You have, in the next 5 years, do you think this rate's gonna go up? It's gonna go down. They're gonna refinance. Even people that bought the house 5 years ago, they refinanced, right? So the key on how you go there. Another thing that I do, I put down in there, we wanna rent the property. Well, fantastic. You could do that. That's a great option for you. You remember 2020 when pandemic happened? How many tenants really paid you? What happened? Government protected them. Imagine your beautiful house, now you have a tenant. And what if something else comes out? If you have monkeypox, they're gonna probably change the name soon to something else. There's gonna be another variant of COVID. You gotta be prepared for that, right? It's reality, I'm not making this up. I'm telling them what they're hearing. They just haven't heard it from an agent. So when you plant that seed, sure, I can rent the property for you. What's gonna happen to your property in 3 years if something worse happens? Kind of give them a little bit scared, but then take it back and say, you know what? You got me as your agent, I'm gonna sell this house for you. I don't need a 6-month listing. My listings are always 30 to 45 days. If I cannot sell a house in the first 30 days, it's a waste of my time. I tell them that. And I'm gonna sell your house in less than 30 days. And I've done it, you know. It's just because I prepare them that way and they believe in it. What's the chances of them saying, oh, I'm not gonna be locked in on a 60-month contract? No, 30 days, 45 days. You can always do extension, right? That's what I do.
Good. Ultimately about timing. So I think wherever there is like the situation is in life. I mean, if you're trying to go to a bigger house, it's a lateral move. Because if the prices came down, then the one that you're trying to buy is gonna come down. So it's a good move anyways. So why are you putting your life on hold in that case? If you're retiring, you're gonna get your most money now, so let's sell now. Let's help you out, so.
But what about for renters? They may not be, they might be just buying their new house, so they'll say, well, we'd like to wait till March of next year, or,
I'll follow up to Lynn. Yeah, I mean, opportunity is good right now. If the rates went down, then you know the competition is coming back. You know, are you always gonna put your life on hold? Are you gonna have babies in that apartment that's too small for the two of you anyways? So life situations happen, so you have to adjust with it. Yeah.
So, just from what I'm hearing the two of you, it ultimately, the buyer and seller has to have that motivation, right? Because they have to have something happening that they need to sell or that they need to buy. And sometimes that fear of where the market is going, and that's where you come in and you really educate them and hold their hand and say, it's okay, if you really need to sell, this is what's gonna happen and we're gonna make it happen for you. So, next, how do you respond when a seller say, when you know, you go up against Fiverr, the agent, and they go, you know what, I really wanna work with a local expert who already sold a house down the street from my house. How would you respond to that?
But we sell everywhere. So, I am not you could say that I'm not a specialist, but I'm more of a generalist, but you could also say I'm a specialist in the whole Bay Area. I'm San Francisco native, grew up in the peninsula, worked in the Valley, live in the East Bay, so I've been everywhere, and I have sold everywhere too. So, in the sense, I'm specialized in everywhere. So, I think I have a good sense of the broad market and the migration of the different people moving around the area and what's going on. So, I think I bring a unique selling proposition that way too.
I tell my sellers that I don't discriminate. I lock myself to expert, being expert of this area. I'm an expert on the real estate, period. So I've listed properties in Antioch. I've listed properties in Willow Glen. I've listed properties evergreen. The key is that I've sold even properties in Los Angeles just recently, 2 months ago, a month ago actually, closed 3 deals there. But I tell them this, when people tell you I'm an expert in this area, what makes them expert? Ask that agent, what makes you expert? I guarantee you, they won't be able to answer that question. Tell your seller, call that agent in front of me, ask her, what makes you expert? We're making a decision on hiring you right now, but my wife just brought this up. What makes you expert? I guarantee you they're gonna fumble the ball. Catch them when they're not ready. That's what I do. I tell the sellers, call them. I wanna hear what makes them expert. Because you, in real estate, you need negotiators. I'm that. I'm a hell of a negotiator. I'll negotiate for you. I'm a fighter. I'm gonna make sure I get you a penny for you. Even if it's not gonna make a big difference in my commission, I'm gonna get you a penny if I can, if not more. So you need to hire somebody that's on your side, and it's a salesperson, which I'm a salesman. We're all, ultimately, we're all salespeople, right? You either sell vacuum cleaners, cars, or houses. Houses pays you more. So that's what I do. I sell homes for fun and profit, and I enjoy selling homes. I was telling Thuy the other day, I listed a property in Antioch, garbage property, $600,000. It was a referral, came and said, can you take it? Sure. I drove an hour from Milpitas and an hour back. I listed the property for $549. I had 5 offers, sold it for $610 all cash. The balcony was falling apart because I had termite rot. You know how much my commission was? Charged them 3%, 18 grand. Who makes 18 grand in 30 days? Figure it out. Don't discriminate, go all over the place. Just make sure you're comfortable because you're a realtor.
So being comfortable means you have to bring on your consultant hat sometimes. You just have to be 1 day or 1 hour more knowledgeable than the next person. So don't be afraid. If you lose the deal or if you don't get the deal, you've learned something. Now you know that market better than you did yesterday. And if you repeat that often enough, you'll know the Bay Area. So.
Well, I just want to come back a little bit more, like you said, give somebody a call. Well, typically the local neighborhood realtor, if they're farming in that area, they'll say, well, we will know why some house that sold 3 months ago, you know, had a bigger living room or kitchen, and why it should have got more, or why this property is better for whatever. So we are more knowledgeable about the comparables.
Whenever I walk into a property of a seller, I make their property look so good that they're gonna fall in love with their house. I never talk down about their property, even though it's, so if you look at homes, I've sold some ugly homes, by the way. But then I kind of slowly said, I said, you know what, the reason this property is sold for this dollar amount, I'll show them the pictures on an iPad, I'll look at the upgrades here, right? I'm not talking down about their property, because they are hiring me, right? So my goal is to get that property, but then I say, you know what, look at this property, this is why it sold for this much more money, because it was upgraded. Yes, you might have a bigger lot size, one extra bedroom, right? The other property had massive remodeling, a nice pool in the backyard. So if they don't see it, they don't believe it. So when you show it to them, then they understand, okay, that's why that house sold for $500,000, right? Now I say, if your house was completely upgraded, you wouldn't sell it. You're selling it for a reason, to get a bigger house, a bigger backyard, or a smaller backyard, whatever your take is. But that's how I manage to talk to them, right?
And one of the very common objection that we get a lot, and I'm sure all of you receive, is commission, right? And I know, we're not, we shouldn't discuss the percentage point, things like that, but in general, when you meet with a seller,
Yeah, we can hear you.
when you meet with a seller and then you get that commission objection, how do you handle it?
Know that you're Chanel, not Walmart. But also know that your value is, right? So if you need to take a discount, know what that is. It's a business, right? Am I saying that you should take a discount? Well, that's up to you. Some people are brand new in the business, and if you need to do that just to build your resume, do it. But also go in with a David Azimi mindset and go negotiate it, right? If you can't negotiate for that, then how are you gonna negotiate when the deal actually comes? What if the other side of the deal asks for a $50,000 discount? How are you gonna respond to it? So just go to practice it. You're Chanel, not Walmart.
For me, commission is the fun part. I always take a white piece of paper with me with a pen. And they tell me, what do you charge? I said, we'll get to that. Let's talk about your property first. So we talk, I present everything, and then I push the piece of paper in front of them. I say, you know what, I'd like to apply for the job of selling your property. How would you like to hire me for? And nobody's 4.5%, 5%. I thought my charge was 7%. I've got listings at 7%, I've got listings at 10%. I've got listings at 5.5%. It works because when you talk with confidence and you look at them in the eye, that I'm not your discount broker, I'm a value guy. I will negotiate for you. Sure, you can hire an agent at 3.5%. What kind of negotiation skills they have? How are they gonna negotiate for you? What's in it for them? They already dropped their value down. Do you think somebody's gonna write off for a 1.2? Somebody's gonna write it on 1.225? Now you got multiple counter offer. They're gonna push you to take the one that is higher. Don't want to even negotiate because there's nothing for them to gain, right? So I plant that seed in their head. But my average commission on all my listings lands right around 6.25%, right? 6.25%. I have lost some deals to other agents that basically charge 4.5%, 3.5%. And I don't know why we're doing that. I think there should be a law not to drop your commissions. I think we should get SCCAOR to come up with that and do that, but.
You had that discussion and I'll join you, we'll join you.
Okay. But commission-wise, it's a fun part because if they like what they see, they're gonna hire you. Now it's just negotiating the commission part, and don't give up. The moment you give up, game over, because they got you. You don't have them.
Well, speaking about prices, what about the right listing price? How do you arrive at that?
If the house is worth $1 million, list it for $500,000. Just kidding. I think in the past it was that let me list it low and get multiple offers. That market is over. So just be careful when you list a property. Educate yourself on what recently sold in the last 60 days. And then come up with a plan when you go there and explain that. I think you should be at least 10% below what the market is, because then you will get 10% over or 15% over, depending on the property. But if you go low and expecting I'm gonna get multiple offers, then what if you don't? Now you just put yourself in a trick bag. So pricing is very critical in today's stable market, because you're not gonna have that big $500,000 bump on a property because somebody wants to pay for it. So pricing is critical. I look at data, I look at what's sold, I look at the area. If there's a property in the same street that hasn't been active for the past 30, 45 days, which we are seeing those, I would reach out to the agent and say, hey, well, what's the intake? What's the foot traffic, right? And then I will visit that house on an open house to see what kind of traffic it is, right? So based on that, I determine a average, but a strong number that's gonna get the property sold.
I'm more about, so same agreement. A lot of the foot traffic information you can also get online. There's the two big websites that are out there. You can see how much views they are, how many favorites, how many X outs, the opinions of those listings are. Another thing is also very important is checking out the inventory in that neighborhood. If you've got 10 listings and 2 pendings, it's not looking very good. If you've got it the other way around, okay, that's okay. But I'm more about listing at the right price, not super crazy low anymore. Don't expect miracles. Right. Yeah.
Well, I just want to have a quick follow-up to the pricing question. Because the market is shifting so much, so the last sale in the neighborhood may be 1.5, but this house maybe won't sell for more than 1.2. So then how do you, explain this huge difference in the price?
Well, once again, you have to give the seller the data information, right? What's selling, what's not selling. If one property sold for 1.5, obviously it had a lot of other options that got that price, right? Because nobody's gonna pay 1.5 for the same property that we're gonna list for 1.2, right? There has to be some differences. It's not like it's gonna be identical property. But once again, expectations of sellers has to come down. And the only way it'll come down if you educate them. The problem is, here's the problem. We go on a listing appointment. We are so desperate to get that listing signed. We listen to them on what to list the house for. Who's a professional here? Imagine going to a doctor, telling the doctor, hey, I'm gonna do my own EKG today because I don't believe in what you're doing, right? Same thing. I give that scenario. I say, I'm the professional here. I'm gonna sell your house. I'm the one I'm gonna market it. You don't tell me how to do my job. Yes, it's your house, your decision, but let me do my job to get you the property sold. So I use that all the time, actually. When you go to see a doctor, you're gonna tell them how to operate on you? No, let them do the operation so you can live.
Do you want to respond, Garrick?
No. We in agreement.
Yeah.
Question.
Oh, the question was, because the market has been shifted, the price has shifted so much,
Oh, yeah.
there may be a recent sale in the area, but from a few months ago, when the market was much hotter, and then everybody says, well, the last property, just down the street sold for 1.5, and mine is identical, and why are you saying 1.2? Because nobody's gonna pay 1.5 anymore.
Yep.
How do you
Comes
deal
down
with
to,
that?
comes down to math, and maybe you gotta show them where the math is. The payments for the sale that's current may actually be higher than the other one that's sold, even though the principal price is lower. So you gotta show them the payments, because that's what it comes down to, is what can that buyer actually afford. So, yeah.
I just want to share this. I had a property that was expired. It was listed in Oakland for $999. Beautiful remodel house, horrible area in Oakland. So the seller was an attorney, and I got on the phone with him, Zoom call for about a good hour and a half. She said, you got the listing. We agreed on 6%. The next day I said, let me follow up with her. I followed up with her. She goes, oh, who are you? They forgot me. So I went over through the whole process. So I listed the property at $869,900. I did one open house. 60 people walked in. You know how much we sold it for? 1.2 million. 1.2 million. So, did I get lucky? Did I get lucky? I think I got lucky. Well, guess what? It takes one buyer to buy the house, right? It was the showcase. I do live music in my open houses. I actually bring wine and cheese, and I really deck it out myself. The live music is not gonna sell the house, but it creates a buzz around your property. And I don't put a lot of open house signs out on the streets. I don't waste my time. I have 2 signs, one at the end of the street, one in front, because I market everything digitally, right? Social platforms. you know, and social media, and I talk about the house. So there's those type of properties to where you could get $300,000 over. And I know that I went against a lot of agents. One of the agents that called me said, hey, I don't know how did you land at that deal, but the lady was just a big fan that we sold this house for that dollar amount in 2 weeks. It was all cash.
So, one other, so speaking of objection, one of the, let's say you went into a listing presentations, again, 3 other people, and the seller come back and say, we really like you, but, we're gonna go with one of our friends, that we've been friends for 20 years, they're a great agent as well, so, sorry. How do you guys handle that?
That's a good one.
I ask them what their experience is and what you're getting for it. Are you getting a discount, and are they proficient in the business? This is what we do all day long. I've closed over 200, he's closed over 500 deals. We've seen all kinds of things. We can get you out of trouble. We can keep you out of trouble. So how many deals has your friend done? So I respect the family support, and it's good, but if that's your choice, then that's your business decision. But I think we bring a lot more value.
I love that question. So when they say I like to list with my family friends, they're great. Do you really like your family? Can you really hold your family accountable? They can't. How could you hold your family accountable or friend? How come my property didn't sell? Now you're gonna lose a friend, you're gonna lose a family. So this is why you hire somebody that's not your family. So if I fail, you fire me. I tell them that. If I fail, you fire me. You could hold me accountable, but you can't hold your family and friend accountable. And that's one thing that I always thought. My sister bought a house in Mountain House, and she bought a house in Fremont, and I referred both of them out. She said, why? I said, because I don't want to get in an argument with my brother-in-law. Because I don't want him to say I make too much money on you. Because I'm not going to give you anything back, right? I'm not giving you any credits. So the key is that if you're not upfront and honest, and you tell them the situation, they'll understand what you're talking about. So I gotta break that down for them. Another thing is I tell them, okay, your biggest asset is your home. You're gonna put your whole life savings in the hand of a friend and a relative to sell it for you. That's the wrong thing to do. Give me your bank account. Let me put my name on there. And they kind of laugh about it.
Okay, we have 2 more questions, and then we will go to questions from the audience. And the way we're going to do the questions from the audience is we're going to ask people to line up and use that microphone over there. So if you're thinking about asking a question, you can think about it over the next 2 questions, which we would like to do quickly. And at the end of the 2 questions that we're going to ask, I would like to have a group shot of everyone. So before we go to a big question, and Neil, you came just in time. You will be ready for our group shot. So we're gonna just take a few minutes break, and maybe Jody will volunteer to take a group picture for us, or someone else. We can figure it out. Okay, thank you so much. So do you want to ask the next question?
Yeah, so we're going to transition with, not working with friends into how do we work with our friends, our family, to grow our database, to grow our sphere, so that they can bring us and help us with our business and bring in more transactions.
Well, if they like you already, then hopefully they will be your cheerleaders. So we have a special section in our database called your fans. So fans are people that like and promote you, and we actually give gifts to them and help stay top of mind. If they're gonna help promote you, they're part of your marketing team, but discreetly, you don't tell them that. They're marketing team. But they're your marketing team. So you're a brand ambassador in a sense. So we call them fans.
I basically tell my family and friends that, I'm here to help you. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm a real estate agent. I've done this for 17 years now. And I do have some knowledge about today's market. It could be a little bit or too much, but I'll give you the right direction. I won't sugarcoat it. I'll just tell you how it is, and if you refer somebody, you won't be disappointed. And they have referred. Family friends have done that for me, so.
There's no sugarcoating friends are not family. We're gonna tell you the straight answer anyways.
So then, do you have like a system that you use in terms of like when you reach out to them, how often, or like that?
When I go out with them, when I have a couple of drinks, we talk about real estate. That's all. I don't reach out to them on a normal basis, just hi, how are you, what you doing? That's the truth, you check out on your family. I don't want real estate, come on, give you some business. They know what I'm doing, they're my Facebook friends, Instagram friends, so they see it, they see my videos, they know I'm active, right? So I'm not silent, I'm very loud out there. I am extremely loud, and I like the content that I put out there, but at the same time, I don't ask my family friends, hey, I need your business. If I'm gonna get my business, if I deserve it, you're gonna give me the business, period. That's how I look at it.
So, be natural about it.
Yeah, so we're not begging for the business. I don't think I've ever asked, hey, you got a referral, refer to me all the time. There's other ways, there are client appreciation parties, you can send gifts, you can say, keep top of mind, be visible, let them know that, just like, if I ask you soda, what do you say? Do you say, when I say soda, what do you say? What's on the top of your mind? Most of the time, that's the answer, right? So when they say realtor, you just say your name. So make sure it's top of mind.
Okay, and so this is the closing question, and it speaks to your comment earlier and Thuy's passion, which is, what are the top 3 books you would recommend that every agent should read?
Yeah, I actually kind of cheated, because I've read some of the books, but I have 3 books that I would recommend. First one is by John C. Maxwell, Today Matters. You could buy this on Amazon, it's a great book. The next book is by Sean Covey, The 4 Discipline of Execution. And the last book is Small Acts of Leadership. You can get all these on Amazon, okay? And if you're at the Milpitas office, I have the book so you don't have to spend the money. Come and see me.
Fabulous.
Good question. I can't remember the names off the top. There's a book, a half millionaire real estate agent. I know everybody knows the millionaire real estate agent, but there's a half millionaire real estate agent. That's a very good entry-level book for new agents. Like, there's 52 chapters, and each chapter is like 3 pages. So very easy, very back to the basics. If you're brand new, that's the book you need to read. I also like to read a lot of biographies. Who is it? Elon Musk has a good biography. Ryan Serhant has one. Altman's have one. Frederick Eklund. The last 3 are real estate agents. So they've also been on that TV show. Who's the other one was a Zappos. The Zappos guy. He has a book too. What's the name of the book? Happiness. No, it's not that. That's not the one.
Delivering Happiness.
Delivering Happiness. And I feel that that's the way you should be doing business, is that you are delivering the service that is high quality, high touch, and that the client will be a fan after working with you. So I think those are all, that's an important core value in my business.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, that brings an end to just our questions. So what I'd like to do is for everybody to get up and come here, and then we'll take a group picture, and then we'll have questions. Yes.
One thing that I would like to ask you guys to do, write this down. What is your why? What is your why? Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you in real estate? Find out what your why is and focus on that. Number 2, be self-motivated. Okay? I started with no clientele. Nobody helped me. You guys are so well above me that it's crazy. Number 3, what's your passion? Do you really have a passion for this job? Or are you just doing it? Number 4, do you believe in yourself? If you believe in yourself, then you're gonna do it. Number 5, hold yourself accountable. Don't ask people to hold you accountable. If you can't hold yourself accountable, how are you gonna lead a life? And I'm not saying, this is how I talk to myself. I'm very hard on myself. And my attitude is always at 100%. Not at 200%, not at 90%. I'm always 100%. Because when people say I'm at 200% level, they're lying to you. Okay, 100%. Thank you so much for having us here.
So we're still going to have questions from the audience, but we're going to take a group shot first, because otherwise I'm going to lose everyone. So everybody, please come up, and we need to, we have a couple of different shots, and we need some volunteers